Go. Oh, it said go. Oh, I wasn't ready. Shit. Here, let's start off right. We'll start off right here. From 7,650 feet above sea level in the Valley of Portals near Alamosa. How's Alamosa? How come that sounds like Moses? Yeah. Why was Quanah Parker the star of Moses on the Mesa? Quanah Parker is in the book. Why does it turn out most of the people Forrest Fenn talked about had been shot or committed suicide, been assassinated, or like Ronald Reagan had been shot, just shot, not killed, but shot? And Peggy, you should call that car the Bullet, or you should call it the Bullet because it is shot. She didn't say that car because he was talking about the car already when he said she should. She said you should call. And that nobody wants to give Peggy any credit for telling us what it was. It was the Bullet. Why did Forrest Fenn not want to end the chase when the New Mexico State Police asked him to? Because Forrest Fenn knew that the end of the chase was his death, and he wasn't ready to die yet. That's why he didn't end it. He said, "Okay, give me a little more time," and that's what happened. I had sent Forrest. I let him know, like in December of 2019, he said there's going to be a lot of big surprises next year. A lot of big surprises. Like, what might be a big surprise? Oh, that the treasure's been found? Might that be a big surprise? Might it be a big surprise that it was somebody from the Onion claiming to be the finder? Might it be a big surprise that Forrest Fenn wrote The Remembrance of Forrest Fenn, a Remembrance of Forrest Fenn in Medium? Jack Stoof didn't write that. Jack Stoof doesn't know why the magic bullet is in that he wrote. Because John Connolly was shot with the magic bullet. And why Kareen, the things that are quoted, because Jack Stoof mentions Forrest Fenn's quotes. And so if Jack Stoof says, his quotes just keep, but okay, but now that he's dead, I can mention his quotes. So twice he talked about Forrest Fenn's quotes. And he says, now I can finally say something. And what does he quote? The magic bullet. Kareen. And the Blaze. It was quadruplet. But and he was eccentric. Cars are eccentric. Eccentrics drive eccentric cars. That's what makes them eccentric. They're driving this fancy car, right? So, and Ralph Lauren, you can't buy my war bonnet, Ralph. Can I buy your Bugatti? you know, uh, Ralph, you can't take those cars with you when you die. What are you going to do with all those cars when you die, Ralph? Uh, I'll take one, okay? I'll just take one. Any one of them, Ralph. Any one of your cars. You know, a Rolls Royce or a Bugatti would be nice. But any one of them, Ralph, you know. What's that? The one where you sits in the middle of the car, drive like you're in a like you're in a go-kart, Um, but all those things tie back to the bullet. And like my video I put up just before this live here, I I was pointing out the what was my video about? I was pointing out um, the hints, the final hints that he gave at West Yellowstone. And it was a hot summer day. Koski is driving up and down the street, stirring up dust, just like K-Pro stirring up dust and ruckus in the community. And passed out squirt bottles. Now you should pass out squirt bottles, okay? Why you pass out squirt bottles? Because Koski's going up and down the street stirring up dust. But Koski, in reality, is K-Pro. Up and down Boundary Street. I mean, Borders, Boundary, whatever. Okay. And who's the dude? Well, he kind of tells you who the dude is. And Eric Sloan tells you who the dude is. Look at that one. That's pretty hot. What's he looking at? Skippy's car. And what's he do? The squirt bottles he passed out. He takes his hose and puts it on Skippy's car because it is hot. Like Eric Sloan says, look at that one. That's pretty hot. And who has Skippy's car sitting out in their parking space? I do. Not Dave Woodard, not Barbara Anderson, not Greg Thompson. And my ex-father-in-law, Thompson, was adopted, so probably not related to Greg. My ex probably ain't related to him either. Not Fendi. Fendi might be a part of it. Oh, and did you notice a whisperer? I think I better make sure I got the sound going. I checked on my program says I do. My program says I got sound going. Yep, it's working. Sound is working. But there's nobody here in the chat. Nobody out there. Oh, 4 watching now. But I will take, if you want to join the stream, or I should just remove that one. Okay, now it'll go paste. Yeah. You gotta use your browser to get on it, because this is a browser. Restream is a browser based. It's not an app, so it's best on a computer. Stream. Fucking caps came on. There. And I'll put that pin message there. Okay. There. Okay. So 6 watching. I started out on a big roll there. Now I'm just kind of, okay, now I'm going to act normal. No. Yeah. Koski was K-Pro. K-Ski, K-Pro. Can you see a similarity there? Who's been stirring up ruckus in the community, stirring up the dust? K-Pro. The shit disturber. Disturbing the dust. Forrest couldn't hose down the side of the road he was on. Look at there. There's Skippy's car. It's pretty hot sitting there in the hot summer sun. And for it to be sitting in the sun, like where the car was, I found in the middle of the meadow, it wasn't under a canopy of trees. It wasn't under trees. It was under a canopy of stars. If it was under the trees, then it wouldn't be so hot because it'd be in the shade. And Forrest was trying not to be too shady, you know? So it's out in the middle of the field. And what did the car do? The car careened into the creek. Careen is quoted in Jack Stooff's Remembrance of Forrest Fenn. Careen. So that's what happened. And then I was just watching Air Force video, a video about Vietnam and stuff. And the pilot says, I fired the missile and it careened into the target. Careen, this crash. What did the Buffalo Cowboy do? It crashed in the creek. And they were no longer warm. It was maybe 45 degrees, 50 degrees or so, you know. And how far did they have to go to find the buffalo, to lasso them? They had to go 7 miles to find Cody, to lasso him. So after they crashed and got wet in the creek, they had to walk home 7 miles. And it was cold. And it was worth the cold. The coffee pot in the story, was he lumberjacking or something? And they had the coffee pot with the bullet hole that entered from low and came out up high. The cowl I have, the bullet hole came from underneath and came out the top. His airplane, the bullet holes came from underneath and came out the top. Both. The Buffalo Cowboy car, he used an anchor rope. His F-100, it was shot too. Right? What did he use? An anchor chain. Because we're anchored on these bullet stories. Forrest was shot down twice. He was shot down twice. Twos are important. Look, he was born on the 22nd. 2-2. Can't deny it. Things he mentioned twice. The 22 caliber bullet that he put. I was flying over Philadelphia and I put my thumb an inch over my left eye and it blocked out the whole city, you know, because if you got a pistol pointed at your forehead, your thumb would be the trigger. You're going to use your thumb because it's closer to your, it's the direction you need to pull the trigger when the gun's pointed at yourself. You don't use your trigger finger. And what do Air Force pilots on their stick? The fire button is on the top of the stick. They use their thumb on the trigger. So Fred Harmon, who wrote Red Ryder, that Forrest Fenn shot birds with his Red Ryder BB gun. Ernest Hemingway's important literature. Ernest Hemingway shot himself with a gun that he hunted birds with. And Fred Harmon, who wrote Red Ryder, and where is Red Ryder on his BB gun? In the wood. The Red Ryder is in the wood. It's like branded into the wood. It's engraved, embroidered on there because there's a rope. There's a rope in the wood. The Red Ryder rope that's like lasso rope, you know, bing, ding, it rings a bell. That was an accident, but it was probably somebody has left. Anyhow, Forrest Fenn says Fred Harmon, the guy that wrote Red Ryder, he got cancer and he shot himself. And according to Forrest Fenn, and it wasn't with a BB gun. A BB isn't a heavy load. Well, a 22's heavier than a BB, but it's not a heavy load like what started the revolution, a 75 caliber or the 50 caliber that went through his airplane. The bullet hole in the cowl I have, it's this great big bullet. It's an exit hole because it already went through the other side of the tank. It's like a 38 hole in the other side of the tank. So that bullet went through the metal of that side of the tank and came out the top and made a big hole because the bullet flattened out while it was making the first hole. And then it makes a big hole coming out the other side. And then, so, and what's he did? What did he do with the coffee pot? Because it had a bullet hole in it, he put a stick in it. What was in the treasure chest? A stick. The car I found was rusty. Tell me about the key in the treasure chest. The key was rusty. The car was the key. Ding, 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 ding. Any bells go off at all for any of you? Do you see any synchronicity at all? If you don't see the synchronicities, you're retarded. It's just retarded and ignorant. That's why I have the good, or the, what do I call it? The right, the wrong, and the ignorant instead of the good, bad, and the ugly. Because most of you just can't admit that I'm right. No, it wasn't. There's a trail cam picture of Jack Stu 7 miles from where I found the car. He was maybe second. And Forrest had him, oh, you came in second place. Here's a consolation prize. Here's $10,000 toward your student loans. We're going to use you to play this part since he's a writer. Justin Posey writes for frickin' magazines, and Jack Stoof writes for magazines, and so does Dan Barbarisi. Dan Barbarisi and Doug Preston are both big time in the New Yorker. They both have stories in the New Yorker. And I was in the New Yorker documentary. The New Yorker documentary has more clues. Why did they go back 5 years to get video of me for that documentary? And it's just a funny little thing I said about, well, it ain't enough for a trip into space, Boogeyman gets up. Hey, have you seen the thing about who's the guy? The guy, a time traveler, Ketchup, or something like that. His name's similar to Ketchup. Yeah, and my dog Jill, she disappeared overnight the other night. I think somebody had her inside their place, and when they let her out to go, pew, she got away and came home. And but I ordered me one of them perimeter Wi-Fi. It's kind of like a Wi-Fi. The thing goes by how strong the signal is to their caller, and the further away they get, it has, okay, this at this level the thing's gonna beep, and then at 100 feet it'll beep, or 200 feet it beeps. At 250 feet it vibrates and beeps, and at 300 feet you get a shock, and so they'll be able to be anywhere within 300 feet of here. A little circle around my art, and the nearest neighbor's half a mile, so that'll should keep the dogs at home. I was really worried about that somebody stole my my sweet puppy, because she just loves the hell out. It would hurt her more than it would hurt me. You know, I could understand why somebody would want such a cute, beautiful little dog. And but why would they take her? I think she's probably knocked up again. I'm curious. She's been going over where the guy's got other Aussies, so I think I haven't seen her Laponian reindeer herder here lately. But yeah, there's too many coincidences, and I'm writing a thing here. Okay, Forrest Fenn Hemingway himself. Hemingway killed himself with a gun he hunted birds with. Fenn's death photo clearly shows a dark bullet hole just over his left eyebrow, mirroring his story, flying over Philadelphia and placing his thumb an inch over his left eye. The bullet hole is an inch over his left eye. That's in his death photo. Most Fenn searchers recall Fenn's question, how deep is a hole? I translate to how deep is a bullet hole? Forrest Fenn started his book shooting birds with his Red Ryder BB gun and his father's suicide, and ended the book with his own epitaph and a banquet table at the end of life. And I was at that banquet table. That was after February 2019, the 30-foot table for breakfast at the Teskew Market, which I was mysteriously invited to by Amy Seeks, because she was told to invite me to the breakfast. That was her mission. She had to tell me to come to that breakfast. Fred Harmon, who created Red Ryder, according to Forrest Fenn, got cancer and shot himself, and it wasn't with a BB gun. Every chapter is followed with a square bullet point, except for important literature chapter, which ends with a large asterisk, which in a bullet journal is an important bullet point. His stories about Jackie Kennedy, John Connally, Sitting Bull, George Eastman, Billy the Kid, Ronald Reagan, and many others are people who were shot. Fenn's first car, a 1945 Plymouth Tudor, which Peggy Fenn, Forrest's wife's, quipped, you should call it the Bullet because it is shot. Notice this is his wife's part of the hunt telling us what it is. What it is. Quote, it. Take it in the canyon down. A photo in the book shows the car with a bullet hole photoshopped in the cowl of his brother Skippy's car, which is obviously a 1930 or 31 Ford Model A. The sketch depicting the buffalo pulling the car matches exactly to being traced from the Model A in the opening scene of Indiana Jones 4. Forrest told many stories about cars, where his father parked at school, and according to Doug Preston in the foreword of Fenn's third memoir, Once Upon a While, the final clue, he said, would be where they found his car. And I'm wondering why there's a column there. Where they found his car, in the parking lot of the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. I'm seeing that colon is two little bullet holes. The last chapter of Once Upon a While is of the first edition of Once Upon a While is The Price of Freedom, about a bronze wolf sculpture in Montana. Forrest would park in the handicap space at the museum where there's a set of bronze wolves chasing a rabbit titled When Legends Run Free. So these bronze wolves, where he parks his car at the museum, are related to the bronze wolf at the end of Once Upon a While. Once Upon a While has the asterisk on the cover. The star is the asterisk. If you type an asterisk on your keyboard, it's a star. Oh. The character is a star. A star and an asterisk represent the same thing. Oh, man. Okay, and you don't get it. The book is important literature because important literature ends with a giant asterisk. And here's the final book. And Douglas Preston tells you there's a lot of clues in this book. Well, they aren't clues, they're answers. Because if you figured out the clues become answers. And Forrest had told the readers in Teachers with Ropes chapter about his signs that said, please touch, we are responsible. Because he didn't like signs that said, do not touch. But these bronze wolves in front of the museum have a sign, or it had one sign, and it was kind of a white plastic with engraved lettering and stuff. But they've replaced it with two signs that are red plastic with white lettering. So you see the red because it says the same thing as the old sign. Says caution, wolf sculptures may be hot. Because these wolves in front of the museum in the summer are out in the sunshine. They're on the north side of the building, so in the winter you're not going to worry about it because there's going to be snow on the ground, and the wolves are going to be nice and cool in the shadow because the building will block the sun from hitting them. But in the summer, when the sun is on these wolves, they get pretty hot, and they don't want kids sitting on them. Yeah, you kid go over there and sit on the wolf and burn a bunch of skin off the cheeks of their ass. No, that's why they got a sign there that says, stay off the wolves. Watch out, they're hot. and then the last chapter in Eric Sloane's book about his art show, and everybody looked at where the leaf was not, and I tell you, it's where the treasure chest was not, where the chest was not, and stuff. And look at that one there. That's pretty hot. Well, there you go again. We're relating to the bronze wolves are hot. And also, Skippy's car up in West Yellowstone is hot. That's why he put a hose on Skippy's car because it was hot. And the bronze wolves are hot. Caution, wolves may be hot. And the wolves relate to Wolf Creek Pass, which is no place for the meek. It's the pass. Forrest was over the hill, so you had to go over the hill from Fred Harmon's house at the world's deepest hot springs. You had to go over the hill to the canyon down. So you start below the home of Brown, which is on the west side of the Continental Divide, at Treasure Falls and Treasure Mountain on the west side. And you had to go from below the home of Brown, and then you had to take it in the canyon down. But the canyon down's on the other side of the Continental Divide. Oh, there'd be no paddle up your creek. Oh, that's going up Wolf Creek that climbs about 4,000 feet to get to the divide. At 11,000 or 10,000, it's up there. But and what's up there at no place for the meek, Wolf Creek Pass, is a ski area with lift chairs that have 150 chairs carrying 4 people each. If you figure there's you could have 4 guys on there that are 250 pounds, So each chair is probably rated 700,000 pounds. Each chair is rated for 1,000 pounds. You got 150. That's 150 pounds. That's a heavy load, And water high Well, the ski lifts take you up to the top of Alberta Ridge, Alberta Peak, and at the bottom of the ski area is Alberta Park Reservoir that is at 10,200 feet. Alberta means noble and bright. Bright is ablaze. The lawyer thought to declare a state in which a treasure was found to reduce crazies. Agree. Yeah, but I'm not fucking crazy. This is the fucking story. Yeah, I'm. You can. Everything I've said is a fact. There are bronze wolves in front of the museum. They do have a sign that says "Caution: Wolves sculptures may be hot." It does relate. It is similar to what Forrest Fenn said in his book. And da 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 da. These are all synchronicities. Direct matches. It's not 9 Mile Hole. Where is 9 Mile Hole in the poem? What part of the poem tells you 9 Mile Hole? Okay. So, and Forrest said hot springs make a pew sound. Hot springs go pew. Because then the bubbles pop, they go pew, pew. What do guns and bullets do when you fire them? They go pew. Okay. You get it? The guns go pew, pew, pew. Hot springs just go pew. 9 Mile Hole ain't no second stanza. Um, um, yeah, Fred Harmon, Pagosa Springs, where Fred Harmon lives, is the world's deepest hot spring. And where the warm water of all warm waters, he said, warm water, not just one warm water, of the warm waters. Where do all warm waters halt? Well, this one halts the deepest. How deep is a hole? How deep is a bullet hole? Um, these those are all related. You're talking about depth, and yeah, where it halts. Where does the bottom of if you go diving head first into water that's 2 feet deep, what's going to happen? The water's going to halt, and you're going to hit the rocks on the bottom. You ain't going to slow down fast enough to stop before you hit them rocks. Yeah, not my last video. No recording of the last video, no audio anywhere. But this is all I have written so far. I'm sending this, what I wrote there, to an editor. And I think it'll probably get published. I'm trying to get somebody with half a brain in media or something to recognize, holy shit, that's fucking amazing. All the AI has recognized that the AI calls Jack Stoof's solution a nothing burger. When I've given all these things, and the lumberjack at the end of the book is at the restaurant in South Fork, at the Hungry Logger restaurant. There's the wooden lumberjack that goes along with the wooden Moses that Forrest has. Oh, the heck with that. Let's smoke the peace pipe again. This is how I started the video. Let's have another one, huh? Okay. Let's see where I'm at. I gotta aim the lighter between the toes so I don't burn between the claws so I don't burn the claws on the pipe, you know? So I aim it right between these two claws. Watch here, we'll do it this way. Now we know why Santa Claus goes ho 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 ho. That's one hell of a lighter, huh? This is great for lighting the stove, starting a campfire, burning the trash, and lighting the peace pipe. It's great. Yeah. Yeah, I got the link there. I guess I should hover my mouse on top of the invite so I can see that. Oh, but what do I got here? Maybe I got some other shit here. In any. See, I've been messing. I've been asking Grok. When I first started using Grok on X, it took Jack Stoof as Jack Stoof is a fact checker. You can't deny what he said is the absolute truth. And he was a writer for The Onion. That's bullshit. So Grok was, and I convinced Grok. I said, you can't use a writer from The Onion as a fact checker. He's not qualified. Oh, and what was it? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There it is. There it is right there. You got it right here. And okay, someone else who knows about the Remembrance of Forrest Fenn letter, the whole thing with Pam Shetron was about her getting an email about with the remembrance letter in it before the remembrance letter was published by Jack Stoof. Or remember, Jack Stoof did not exist until after Forrest Fenn was dead. Forrest Fenn never confirmed Jack Stoof. Jack Stoof claimed that he was the writer of that article. But that's not the truth. That article was published by someone called The Finder. Forrest Fenn was a finder. He had found the treasure originally. And he put it out there for us to find. Well, he didn't put it out there either because it was a proxy. We had to find the substitute. If you decoded his stuff, you had to know that it was a substitute you had to find. And Jack Stoof is also a substitute. Why did his family call him Bill? Why did Forrest Fenn name his poodle Willie 5 months after the 2017 Femboree when I brought the bullet there? Why did he have mildew in the car that day? Because his private eye, Eric Grieco, knew that I had been talking to his private eye. I didn't have to talk to Forrest. I was talking to his private eye, and Bill's coming. And so Forrest Fenn brought the hat because he knew I was coming and he knew I was bringing that car. And then what comes out? The chapter before The Price of Freedom? What's the chapter before The Price of Freedom? The bullet comes home. I-69, 169. That's funny. Okay, so the bullet comes home. And it doesn't have to be, he talked about Plymouths, Fords, Chevys. His father had a 32 Chevy and a 36 Chevy. And Skippy had a Model B. He talked about everything but the Model A, but the Buffalo Cowboy car is obviously a Model A. And in Ramblings and Rumblings, the car is an old car with no body, and he sat on the rear axle holding onto the frame. Yet, in the thrill of the chase, the car is an old car with no top, and he sat on a sofa cushion in the back of the car. That's why, about 200 feet in front of the car by the creek, I found the springs of the sofa cushion. Those of the cars, maybe. You find the springs too? So, holy shit. Got both those. Got the car, and I got the springs for the sofa cushion. And I got everything but the $100,000 IOU. I never got my $100,000. He said he would know if somebody found the treasure when that $100,000 IOU was cashed. And nobody's ever cashed a $100,000 IOU from Forrest Fenn. Because whoever was supposed to get it to the person didn't do their duty, didn't do their job and give it to the person. His family, I don't know what's, they won't talk, they never talk to me. I've always been friendly to them. Always been friendly to them. But they block me like I'm one of you guys. Like I'm Barbara Anderson. I'm not Barbara Anderson. You know? Burning the candle at both ends. Yeah. The article was for the fun. Yeah, because I know what it says. It talks about John Connolly and the Magic Bullet. Oh, speaking of John Connolly and the Magic, what I just saw, I saw an interview about the Magic Bullet. The guy that they said that turned in the guy that found the Magic Bullet and gave it to the Secret Service or whatever at the hospital said that when a guy interviewed him and showed him the picture that the FBI, this is the Magic Bullet, the famous Magic Bullet picture we've all seen of this pristine bullet. And the guy said, that's not the bullet I gave him. The Magic Bullet is a fake. The guy that turned in the Magic Bullet said the one that they're presenting is not the one that he found and gave to them. And there's supposed to be, from the back of the car, a dent in the frame around the top of the windshield, the top of the windshield frame, where the hardtop attaches. It has a dent from a bullet hitting there. And there's the bullet hole that came from the front through the windshield, just to the left of the rear view mirror up in the center. So it's between the driver and the rearview mirror where the bullet hole enters about the level of almost the level of the rearview mirror. And you can see in the picture taken by the photographer that was over there between the south overpass and the middle overpass. He was standing on there taking took the picture straight through the windshield. You can see JFK like this, and that's after he got shot by the first bullet, before the other bullet went through his head. And the picture of JFK like this that's taken through the windshield, there's no bullet hole in the windshield at that time. Therefore, that bullet hole showed up after the picture was taken. Before the picture was taken before the bullet entered his head. Yeah, entered his head and took out that back, because it came from the center of the car across in between Connolly and the other front passengers. It split between the first two rows of seats and clipped Kennedy in the corner of the head there. And being that it was heading off to that side of the car, it sent material, toward the center. Because say some went a little bit, maybe went out the car and onto the street, but the majority went the other way because they just clipped in that corner of the. So the force would have, it spreads it in both directions and backwards. Oh, I got a JFK song playing. We got a song about the. Hey, I got this. Bonnie and Clyde ran wild and free, outlaws bound. Okay, and why is in Once Upon a While you have Red Ryder, me and Little Beaver. The guy that wrote Red Ryder shot himself. Boom. Forrest was killing birds with his BB gun. Ernest Hemingway killed himself with a gun that he killed birds with. Ernest Hemingway's important literature. Ernest Hemingway's important literature. Ernest Hemingway killed himself with a gun that he shot birds with. Forrest Fenn hunted birds with his Red Ryder BB gun. The guy that wrote Red Ryder shot himself, and it wasn't with a BB gun. He got cancer just like Forrest did. Forrest said, I'm going to go alone. I'm going to do it all alone. I don't want anybody there when I die. When I die, I want to do it alone. How do you die doing it alone? You're not laying in the hospital bed with your family around you. No, you're out somewhere private and you're taking your own life. Who else? Lewis and Clark. Okay, Lewis was murdered. They say he committed suicide, except he was shot in the chest and he was shot twice. Okay, if you shoot yourself in the chest and you shoot yourself in the heart, you don't have to do it twice. Uh-huh. And hey, Geoduck, there's that bear toe, Jim Bridger's grizzly bear toe. That's a big old grizzly bear toe bone, man. Have you seen look like my claw caught? My back roller stretcher thing here. Look at it was hanging up here on the. I hooked it with here. I could use this for a grabber to grab things, back scratcher. It's a real good back scratcher. uh, yeah. Okay. The documentary I'm in with about Robert Rogers is about when he went up to he raided the Abenakis up in Saint Francis, or now known as Odanak. It was the village of Saint Francis, Abenaki tribe, who had been coming down and kidnapping and murdering English colonists and stuff, scalping people and kidnapping them, burning their farms, and the same people Rogers went up there to get were had burned his own family's farm, and they had John Stark captive. They had kidnapped General Stark when General Stark was younger, before the this is 1750s, uh, before the Revolution, and John Stark, before he was a general and all that. John Stark was one of Rogers' Rangers, and I'm descended from James Rogers, the brother of Robert Rogers, and his son James, who had married the daughter of Ethan Allen, Mary Allen. They're my fourth great grandparents. So I'm related to James Rogers and Ethan Allen directly, and not many generations, because my great great grandmother was Mary Allen Rogers. Her brother donated Ethan Allen's blunderbuss that he was said to have when he took Fort Ticonderoga single handedly. My ancestors were warriors. I'm gonna have another one. That's supposed to be 27%. I don't know what kind it is. It was like $3 a gram. I got 3 grams for $9, or wait, for $8.10, because I get a veteran discount on weed. Veterans get a discount. That's what I like about my. I made this. Turns this way. This strap. I made the strap. See, it's braided. It's just a braided leather, but I made that so I can carry it like this, you know, or I could have it choke me and go over the back side of my back. But that's how you keep from messing it up when you're carrying it. So it's got this bear toe that I got from Geoduck. Geoduck gave me the bear toe, and I got this is a alligator claw from near Port Canaveral, or somewhere up there, that part of Florida, Space Coast. And I got some feathers. This red feather. Where is it? This one down here with the black. That's from. I found a dead bird in a tree, and it had those feathers. But then these spiky red, this red one, these red down here, they're from Togo, who's right here. Togo's been taxidermied, and he's in a like near almost airtight plastic case, because cleaning your taxidermy bird isn't all, like if I wanted to clean him, I'd bring him to the taxidermist again to, if he gets any, after maybe 10 years in that case, there might be a little dust on him. He might need a little, but he looks alive in there. I actually have a little actuator motor. And if I could find an audio thing that takes a audio sound, and makes when the sound is loud, the actuator, when the no sound, it close, and put it on his beak inside, because he's styrofoam inside, and it's just his wings and feet that are, still probably the natural, dehydrated or whatever. And but if I had his beak actuated, because I got him talking, I have audio of him talking, and I can and make him an animatronic. I'd like to have Togo be an animatronic. Maybe. Yeah, maybe I can get Disney to make him an animatronic and include him in the tiki room. But not until they get new management. Yeah. My music, I don't know if you can hear my music. Yeah. I think my volume's on 2 or 3. But I got my music on here on don't see nobody doing echoes in the noise. Did I play Yellowstone Summers? I don't know. This is of course Fenn going to Yellowstone in the summer.
3 months free, school bells done, Fenn's rolled north, beneath the summer sun. Dad and Mom, 20 years we roam, Yellowstone called our wildwood home. Tents at Fishing Bridge till 38, kids in canvas, a carefree state. Soft top cars and bears at night, fires blaze against the grizzly's might. Oh, Yellowstone summers, wild and grand, tents and trout in a rugged land. Bears in the berry saws in our hands, family ties where the river expands. From West Fork Sorrow to the lake's bright shore, lived a life that my heart still adores. Cutting logs and trading fish, memories bloom in a camper's wish.
Yeah, he song Yellowstone.
June and me, a saw we'd wield, log split clean in a tent side field. Mom snapped a shot, thought it's sweet, kids pitching in where the fires would heat. No chainsaws were just hands and swords.
Okay, now think about the picture of Forrest Fenn with his 2 capped guns in his holsters, playing Red Ryder, bang bang, guns, shoot 'em up. Okay, and anybody who took a shot from Jackie Kennedy's brandy glass, or brandy flask of brandy that he had, that was Jackie Kennedy's. They took a shot. The car was shot. They took a shot. They were shot and they didn't know it. Playing with words. All it is, one word, shot. What are the many things it can mean? Donald Trump was shot. I mean, it was only clipped his ear, but he was still shot. And the ear is a part of the head, so he was shot in the head. Sitting Bull, he was shot in the head, but he was shot in the back first. He was shot in the back and then shot in the head. Lewis, he was shot in the chest and shot in the head. Elton John was outside. Forrest Fenn was outside outside Michael Douglas's house, walking by the window at Michael Douglas's house, and Kirk Douglas was there too. Kirk Douglas. I am Spartacus. Wow. I got something between my teeth there. Feels like fur. But so Elton John's walking by. What? Elton John, Forrest Fenn went to Borders, right? Elton John has the Borders song about Moses, holy Moses. We have been deceived. Da, 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 da. You know, and like that's kind of like the women staring at Eric Sloane's paintings. Oh, there should be a leaf covering that, but they all stared and they stared. They marvel gazed at where the leaf was not. Marvel gazed because it's not the treasure. It wasn't that it. You were looking for the wrong treasure. You had to find something that was important to him, symbolic. He was giving the treasure chest away, but what was important to him was the memories, all the memories that car brought. It reminded him of Eric Sloane, 1930 Model A. Eric Sloane made 2 trips from back east, 2 trips from New York to Taos. And that's in the book, Return to Taos. And that has a poem in the back, much like Forrest Fenn's book, a poem in the back. It tells you the treasure's hot. It's where the treasure chest was not. There was something else that was hot. It was that car. Because the book Return to Taos is about the 2 cars that he drove there. All the sketches are the cars that he drove. He had signs painted on the cars. So he painted signs. He painted bridges, and he painted Coca-Cola signs and religious signs on rocks and barns and everything while he was driving from New York to Taos on the old Santa Fe Trail or whatever. Yeah, I try and turn that on. Maybe it wasn't. So, echoes in the noise, Apollo strings, the Atocha, the Atocha's gold. There. Doom.
Oh, Mel Fisher sailed on a treasure gleam.
Mel Fisher sailed on treasures.
Cause a wreck in a deep sea dream. Anchors from the ocean's bed. Silver and gold on the trail we tread. A sign of the load where the legends led. Haul away, boys, haul today. Here from home, the Atoka calls through sweat and storms. We'll claim it all. Silver trails and golden ties. Mel's big day when the treasure rise.
Pirate music.
The sea was cold, the work was dire. Haul away, boys, haul away. Lost souls drowned in the deep's cold fire. Haul away the gold to sway. Through tragedy's grip we curse the tide. Silver and gold on the trail we spied. Hard hands bled but we never cried. Haul away, boys, haul today. Here go the Atoka calls through sweat and storms. We'll claim it all. Silver trails and golden ties. Mel's big day when the treasure rise.
There's the other clue. Did you hear that? When you mentioned the anchors, okay, when they found the Atocha, they found the anchor, and then from the anchor, they followed the debris trail to know which way the current took it. And they followed that debris trail 10 miles before they found the jackpot. But see, the Atocha's anchor, and Forrest Fenn tied an anchor rope to the car. The car was the Atocha. The anchor was the buffalo. Yeah. So they anchored the car to the buffalo. Yeah. Or how do you want to put it? But either way, the plane he crashed, he hooked an anchor chain to stop the plane. It tore the back half of the plane off. Well, the car didn't have a back half either. And people used to tell me, you only got part of a car. Yeah, that's all there was. Even in his story, in Ramblings and Rumbling, it's an old car with no body. It had the cowl. You need the cowl because that's the gas tank. It got a bullet hole through the cowl. It got a bullet hole through the gas tank, just like his airplane. It all lines up. The airplane had an anchor chain. The car was on an anchor rope. The Atocha, they found the treasure by finding the anchor and following the anchor rope from the rope breaks and the rope points in the direction of the wreckage. Oh, so yeah, I've looked all over that area. There wasn't anything. You had to find the substitute, and I found the substitute. It was the Model A cowl. I'm suspecting something here going on because I've had some good information, and when I'm doing good and things start, it's like who else is somebody else coming on early in the afternoon. Somebody can't wait till 7 or 8. Oh, Bill Gorman's on. Let's go stream over him or whatever. But yeah, the Atocha was the anchor chain. The car was on an anchor rope. Because the story was anchored on the car. So yeah, I don't know. Did somebody not get the message did Forrest tell Zoe who the real finder was, and she thought he was joking and forgot about what, or didn't remember what he said because he only said it once or something, because with children you have to tell them twice. And she was his child. So if he told her once, it might not have soaked in. But why'd he call Stoof Bill? Because she didn't know who Bill was. Right? Yeah, I got drunk last week. What was it? Saturday. Yeah, my neighbor Willie gave me a real hookah thing, that I could put on my. But what's the difference, really? I mean, this is just good. It works. But yeah, it's got a couple holes in it. It's way longer than I need too. I only need about the length I have on that one. And that's where the first hole is in the tube. There's a tape on here, and that's the same length. So could cut it right there and then attach that and just use this. But I don't have a problem with this one. This one is, I can see when it's dirty in there. You see the resin in there. It starts to build up, and I can get a Q-tip in there and clean it. Yeah, and Skippy made that zap gun too. Remember, with shock things and stuff with it? He'd shock things. Um, I'd have to delete more music to put more on it. Yeah, it took 50 hours to drive to Yellowstone. 50 hours of driving. They didn't drive straight for 50 hours. No, they didn't. No. Marvin didn't drive 50 hours straight. It probably took, you figure, probably 10 hours a day. It'd take 5 days of driving. And so in that 5 days, of drive, split up the distance between Temple and Yellowstone. And if you're gonna drive from Temple to Yellowstone, what route are you gonna? You're gonna head for the freaking mountains and go up the middle of the mountains some way. I think they came across. They came across and went down 160 and 160 over to the $1 Million Highway, and then north there all the way to Yellowstone through the mountains and camped on the way. I don't think they necessarily went through Denver. That's how you might go now because it's so fast. But really, when I went up to Yellowstone, I didn't take I-25. I went up. I went up and I went through by Copper Mountain through Leadville, Copper Mountain, Silverthorne, Granby, and up. I went up the west side of the Continental Divide. You know, through all the valleys, through the mountains and valleys on up there. And there you go, mountains, alternating mountains and valleys. It's Wyoming. 285 going up there. When Forrest said he flew, he flew through, there was cloud weather or something, and he flew across over the great sand dunes to Highway 285 and then went south. That's he flew right by here. And he flew right over. He would have flown right over where Amelia Earhart landed twice. She landed there twice. And remember, twos are important. What happens twice? What he says twice, and all that stuff. So, yeah, I took that other video off because there's no talking on it. It's just turn that off. There's no audio. no nothing. Microphone. It was a NVIDIA thing because I had the NVIDIA, and but it was messing up. It's NVIDIA. I don't know what the sound is, but I have the NVIDIA GeForce RTX Studio and all that, and it's supposed to do a lot of stuff that the what do you call that program? They I don't even remember the name of it. They use for their Zooms and all that to have their panels and split the screen and share screen and all that. But I find that Zoom and Restream does that itself, so I don't need it. Invite guests. Yeah, I thought I did. I don't have any guests on my list here. Nobody's signed up. Yeah, I'd rather not talk to myself here, you know. So I might end it soon because I kind of some of the most important stuff I covered. You know, the car is important. Moses is important because Moses is related to the bullet. Oh, because the bullet's related to the stick of Moses, because the gun, the wood stock of the stick. That Charlton Heston mentions that wood staff of Moses became the stock of the rifle, where Red Ryder is engraved on that wood stock of the rifle. It doesn't take a lot of, all these things are the 6 degrees of separation, but we like 1-2 degrees. We ain't no 6 degrees. This solution is solid. You can't deny these are directly related to what I'm talking about. The direct relationship. Um, that's what synchronicity is. Um, if everything wasn't synchronized, you'd be data bits. Unorganized. Data bits. There are a lot of data bits out there. A lot of people missing data bits. You're a few data bits short, aren't you? I'm only 5'2". Yeah, that's a few data bits short. You know the things gummies come in, the little tins that gummies come in. You know what they're good for? I just put a label on there, tell me what's inside. See? And there's a magnet inside there. I don't think my lighter is metal. My fork is. Oh, there's a magnet in there. Where? Yeah, it wants to stick. But I stick it on the metal rail. There's a metal rail all the way along the seam of the slide out. And so I got cans stuck to the rail up there. I don't have a space for it now. That's why it was on my desk. What's going on? Ketchup, still the boom. After talking about Togo, it's like everybody went away. Cool pipe. Big puff. Yeah. Somebody else live? What? Where did everybody go? There's 6 here. What else I got written? I'll go look at my. I got some other text here to interpret. No, not that one. This one. Uh, oh no. Nope. There. I don't want it right over my picture. I want that off. There. Um. Oh. Okay. I gotta go way up here earlier in this. Oh, and Treasures of Another Kind. The foreword by Douglas Preston mentions Larry Hagman, who played J.R. Ewing in the TV series Dallas. Had a ranch called South Fork, like Santa Fe. South Fork is also SF, which is a mirror. It's the same SF. They're both SF. Where was Moses? 8.25 miles south of South Fork, not north of Santa Fe. And where was the banquet table at the end of life? The banquet table at the end of life was at the Teskew Market, which is an 8.25-mile drive from Forrest Fenn's driveway. It's 8.25 miles to go from his house to the Teskew Market, where the banquet table at the end of life was, the day after February of 2019. And there's pictures. Well, there's a group picture. I'm clearly in the group picture, but of the picture of the table, I'm in a row of people with our back to a wall. There was a wall behind us, and all you see is my hat. But I'm right across the table from Forrest Fenn, and Forrest Fenn had his breakfast. I think it was the chili rancheros, the chili peppers, and the cheese, stuffed cheese, and what Rabel's rancheros or whatever. I don't know. But he took like 2 bites, and I had finished. I chowed down what I had, But after he took 2 bites, he offered his plate to me. He wanted me to take his plate. He didn't want it, and so I said okay. But it was a cryptic message. He was passing me his plate. He had a lot on it. He had a lot on his plate, and he was passing it to me. And the other people at the table didn't notice what was happening. Maybe they didn't notice what was happening, but that's what happened. It was another one of them cryptic messages, like doffing the hat and then putting mildew on. He knew I was going to bring. He knew I was going to bring the bullet car to that Femboree, and that's why he brought mildew with him, because he knew I was bringing that car, and he knew I was going to be there. His private eye had confirmed that I had planned to be there, and I was working as a camp host, and I had gotten the day off because I told them, I said, I have a special thing happening down in Santa Fe on on the June 10th I need to be at. So that was, fine. I just changed I got that day off, one Saturday and Sunday off instead of Sunday and Monday. And so yeah, I was at the Femboree. Anything Street says about that event is just his own jealousy and trying to pin some kind of, you know, uh, trying to gaslight me. That is what gaslighting is. Make people doubt what they believe. And it's like, no, you can't make me doubt that. All it proves to me, Street, is that you're a fuckhead. You're a fuckhead, Street. Oh, they're back. Hey, hey, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, just one man. Hey, Tim. Tim, there ain't been nobody chatting there for 15, 20 minutes. I don't know what's wrong with what are they afraid of? They're afraid of saying something. Oh my God. I mean, the whole internet, the whole chat thing there is so people can interact, so people can be social. But there's Tim's being social. Boogeyman was being social. Steve Klein. You want me to take a hit for you, Steve? You still there? What's your favorite uh Arkansas transparency video? You watch them police chases? Learn how to drive there, Steve? There. That hit's for you, Steve Klein. Been on a mower, huh? Oh, I'm cutting another kind of grass. Boom, boom, boom. I got 3 raven feathers, but I got a place for a 4th raven feather. The dog got one of the raven feathers, and I got a whole bag of raven feathers here. I got to put another one on it. I bought this shock collar things for the dogs that has a transmitter, and I hope it's like at like 200 feet. It starts before it beeps. I hope it gives them little room to run before it starts beeping, and then if they get further away, it buzzes, it vibrates, and then if they get like 300 feet away, then it's a shock. The thing stops getting a signal. It's like, okay, now what if I better make sure that the transmitter has power at all times. I'll have to put it on a battery that doesn't go dead. It's always charged. Like right now, I'm at a 52.6 volts, and I got my new batteries. I got 4 new 12-volt LifePo 4 100 amp hour batteries. It's like $400 for 4 batteries, but I don't have to run my generator at night. I had to run it this morning because this morning it was snowing and there wasn't any sunshine when normally the sun would come out. But it's a lot better than running out of power overnight. But I'm thinking if I had 4 more of these, then I would never have to worry about it, because I get enough solar power that they get up to 53, almost 54 volts charge on them, and yeah, it just goes all night long. I look at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm still 52 volts. And that means I'm going to make it all night with this battery, with the battery. So I don't have to run the generator and put 5 gallons a week into the generator. Whoop! My little Tesla ball there. Tesla. This is one of a Tesla ball. I think he had 2 of them. Yeah. Yeah, and too far to walk. Too far to walk was how far they found Cody. They found Cody 7 miles from town. And they had to walk back cold, and he was in barefoot, and it was cold outside, and they were wet. So, but it was worth the cold. They realized much later how much fun it was much later, and it made the story in his book. It was so much fun, it made it into his book, And so that's what worth the cold is. It's just my coin. This is Alexander and Athena. And Athena on her throne. And I got that. I got this at Pandora's Box, or Pandora Jewelry Store in Athens, Greece, when I was there 2 years ago. I'd still be. I was there till I think the 12th of April. I went up there like 2 or 3 days before my birthday, and I came back 2 weeks later. I was there for 2 weeks. The room was $400 for 2 weeks. Yeah, I have them, but they don't want me taking the medication because my blood pressure is too low for the medication. They say don't take that medication if my blood pressure, if my upper number is less than 110. And that's where I run, man. 110, 115, 105, 101. I'm low pressure. I told my neighbor, he was getting all excited about shit. I said, "Man, why you cool down? You're getting you're getting boiled up." I said, I don't get all heated up like that, man. I run nice and slow. Take it easy. There's no rush. Life is not a race." Hi, Melinda. Yeah, Forrest was giving out lots of clues. You know, the quotes in the Remembrance of Forrest Fenn. Stoof doesn't even know what the quotes are really about. They're about the bullet. It's about the blaze, or he says the magic bullet. You know, the bullet and Kennedy. You know, people being shot. Lewis Lewis of Lewis and Clark was shot. Sitting Bull was shot. Fred Harmon, who created the Red Ryder BB gun, was shot. Forrest Fenn was hunting birds with his Red Ryder BB gun. And Ernest Hemingway's important literature. And Ernest Hemingway shot himself with a gun that he hunted birds with. The biddies. The biddies tied to Great Gatsby. Forrest couldn't cross the road because he'd get run over by a car. Well, what happened in the Great Gatsby? What ended the Great Gatsby? A biddy ran out in the road and got run over by a car and killed. The car, call that car the bullet because it's shot. So the car's a bullet. The car killed the biddy in Great Gatsby. A bullet. You know, Meriwether Lewis was a bullet. Sitting Bull, a bullet. Hemingway, a bullet. Fred Harmon, Red Ryder, a bullet. Billy the Kid, a bullet. Why didn't Forrest Fenn, did he mention Calamity Jane? Or man, might have mentioned Phoebe Moses. There's Moses again. But yeah, and her shooting skills, you know, tied up with Bill Cody. Oh, people are looking toward Cody. Well, what was Cody's first name? Bill. What did Forrest call Jack Stoof when his family was around? Bill. They don't get it. They don't get it. Oh no, it can't be. You can't be that lucky. I'm sorry. It's not my fault. It's just my luck. Yeah. Yeah. Athens. Oop. Goes with my coin. Yeah, from going to Athens. You been to Athens, Melinda? Yeah, I haven't heard from MJ. Hadn't said nothing for a half hour or so. I don't know where she is, Tiger. Yeah, you got a tiger in your tank, Tiger? You run on Exxon? And at the end of the line, is the asterisk. This is important literature. Because at the end of important literature is an asterisk. And this is the book that he wasn't going to write. Or the book of answers. Because 5 months before this came out, he was congratulating me for finding the bullet car and put war mildew. I'm never going to wear that hat. Well, he had to eat his words. Nobody's going to find it before I die. Well, somebody did. So he ate his words and he wore the hat. Jeez, it's pretty simple. Hey Tim, some pecan pie. What are you in the Carolinas? Oh, you've been to Mount Olympic? I went to Delphi. I seen the Oracle. Yeah, I was at the Parthenon on my 65th birthday. That was great. That was great. Went to the Parthenon. I very much enjoyed being at the Parthenon. Met some people from Missouri there. And they took my picture and stuff. And, oh, you're on YouTube? Yeah. But never hear from them. I don't know. Maybe I do. I think Tim's over in Missouri. Oh, I don't know. I'm related to somebody from Missouri. Mark Twain, my third cousin. I had a live stream and I showed my family tree and all my cousins. 29 of my cousins were president. um, but I have other relationships to presidents through first ladies too. Some like Martha Washington. I'm related to Martha Washington. And but according to the thing, I am directly related to Pierce. But I'm directly Pierce is a cousin, and his wife was a cousin of mine. And my grandparents didn't know it, but I discovered they were ninth cousins. One was descended from the daughter of John Hopkins, who came on the Mayflower, and the other was descended from the son of John Hopkins. Yeah, I know. It's Samuel Clemens. I've been to his house. I seen his ghost at his desk. He was sitting at his writing desk. Yeah, he lived next door to Beatrice Howe, or the woman that wrote Uncle Tom. She was his neighbor. But I'm related to Pollock too, the artist, and I'm related to Robert Louis Stevenson and Helen Keller. uh, and Lady Godiva. I mean, when you know you're related to all these, it's like, wow, man. It's not a family tree, it's a family web. Because if the branches come back together, that's a web. They come back together back there. If you did a spreadsheet and you multiplied yourself by 2, which is you and then your parents, and then each line of that spreadsheet, you multiply the number above by 2. And I think it's 20 generations would be to the year 0. You know, that's every 20 years, a generation every 20 years. 20 generations be the year 0. And so at the year 0, you would have trillions of ancestors if none of them came back together, were the same people. That son and daughter, went different routes, and boom, 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 and there's probably not many people that didn't marry their cousin unless they were a different race, completely purebred different races. Even my DNA test says I'm related to Genghis Khan. I got Genghis Khan blood and Osiris. Or no, Ramses. No, I think I'm from Osiris, somewhere down the line, right? But Ramses was a redhead, and Ramses was said to have escaped and went to Ireland. That's why there's so many redheads in Ireland. And the stories of the giants of the old West, Utah, they were redheads. Ramses was a redhead. So were the Egyptians these redheads? The Ramses Egyptians. But the American Indians killed off all these redheads, ran them back off into the North land, you know? So that's why all the people with the redheaded blood ended up there. My mother was a redhead. My mustache used to be red, but yeah. But you get people like was it Wendell? Call yeah. Oh look! Oh, you look bad shape. Blah 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 blah. I'm 67, and people call me baby face because I'm not as wrinkled as most people that are 67. you know. Yeah, my hair went light when I was like 7 years ago. I just turned 67 Monday. I'm not an April fool. I'm a March here. The astrology thing says that being I was March 31st and not March 30th. If I was March 30th, which was when I was supposed to be born, but they delayed me so I'd be born on my mother's birthday. If I was March 30th, then I would be a late Pisces. But since I'm March 31st, I'm not a late Pisces. I'm a full Aries. But I'm an Aries sun, Leo moon, and Sagittarius rising. Those are the three fire. I'm three fire, triple fire. And it's like, whoo, way up there. Triple blazes. I think Forrest Fenn had two fire signs, except his birthday. Some say it's Leo, some say was it Libra? You know, or not Libra. Is it Virgo? Virgo, I think, is after Leo. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, and that right on the cusp, you're kind of both of them anyhow. um, yeah. What else going on? Let's see. You get dizzy. I get dizzy. Did I get dizzy? Up there? No. You know what? It's a lower altitude than where I live. Mark Twain. Did you Tesla and Clemens were beast? Yeah. Even Tesla, my DNA is similar to Tesla's. It was in my DNA thing, and Einstein. I have Einstein DNA too, because my mother's mother, my great grandparents were both from Austria, so that makes my grandmother like Austrian, because both her parents were from Austria, so she's Austrian, and then my mother was more German, English, Austrian, or more English and Austrian. And my dad's more Irish, Scotch, English, Gorman actually didn't come from Ireland. He came from London, and in 1747, he came to Boston from London. And his name was Bill Gorman. Bill Gorman came to Boston in 1747. And then my great grandfather was William Gorman. 2, 3, no. Fourth great grandfather was William Gorman, who moved and it went from, because one in Boston went to Hartford, and the one that showed up in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania area came from Hartford. So you know, it's the same family. And um, and then there, so there's William Gorman, then John Gorman, then Christopher, then Rob, then Bob, then me. That's how it goes. So I know my ancestors going, the Gormans going back, and but the first Gorman came from London and not Ireland. That's why we never had an oath to drop. We were never Irish, or maybe he was Irish in London. Did you test the Clemens were busy? Yeah. My ex girlfriend, her daughters, they always called me Newton. They called me Newton. It's a guess up here. And I'm related to Isaac. He's in my family tree on my mother's side. That from England. Um, and Newton was like the tax collector, the accountant, the king's accountant. See all the smoke cleared out of there, or the vapors. Mm-hmm. I'm not bruised. I'll never forget those girls in Gilroy. No. I have music playing, and that's what you go with my music, my background. I keep my speakers on #1 volume, so that they don't turn off. If I don't have any sound going to them, they turn off. So I can hear that, but you can't. And I have a song about the girls in Gilroy, Jennifer and her sister. When Jennifer got up, we were watching TV. I don't know what we were watching. Maybe we might have been watching um, Hooterville and not Hooterville. Um, the whatchamacallit, those Southern guys, uh, with the General Sherman and all that. But so we might have been watching that show because that was the '80s, and the girl I was there to see, Jennifer, um, I met at my sister's bar. Yeah, I went there to see Jennifer, and so we're sitting on the couch watching TV, and her sister sat on the other side of me, you know. And so the three of us are watching TV. Well, the girl I was there to see got up to use the bathroom, and her sister says to me, "When can I have you, Bill?" I'm like, oh my God. uh, they came up to visit, and I had a friend with me, and so yeah, so she she took my friend, my friend. I told my friend, yeah, you're gonna be here because so her sister doesn't try. So yeah, so her sister went with Mick. I wonder if that guy Mick ever. This guy knew his best man at my wedding, my first wedding, and all that. And he just became a rich prick. Um, just stop by and say hello, and they chase you. It's like, oh, you're too good for me now. Okay, goodbye. You know. Oh, I paid my car payment. I paid my 3 credit cards. Um, and the rest of the car insurance is auto pay. The The Starlink is auto pay, so all my bills are paid until next month. It's the first thing I do when I get paid. But I might have found a trailer here that I can get cheap, and I need to move my bank account over to my credit union where I have the car loan, and then I might be able to um, get the loan for this other property that's 3 times the size of this one. And the thing is, I could, I'd probably keep this one until I got everything of value of mine moved out, and then I'd just sell this as vacant land, because I could tow the RV over there if I had to, you know, because it hasn't started for a couple of years. Last time I tried to start it, it didn't want to fire up. So you gotta see if it's getting spark. I'm gonna do all the tricks. You gotta take the hood, the doghouse off. Where's all the chat? Where'd everybody go? Yeah, didn't Johnny Cash have a movie where he was at a ranch in New Mexico or West Texas? Who was that was? Oh yeah, yeah. That person showing up again too, huh? There was a guy wanting to get on that private property and stuff. We were telling him, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. You tell them to don't do it, and they still do it. Well, I told them don't do it. This is the most economic way. It burns it slow. Or vapes it slow. A little bit goes a long way in that. Yeah, my thing's playing on Moses because I make songs about the chase, dodging bullets, bullets in, bulletproof. The story about Captain America, that's what I was looking for. Experiences with Joe, right? He's got the Captain America thing there. Now, what is the clue we got here in the Captain America art? Is the shield. The shield is bulletproof, right? But in the story, what's in the story? There's the other part of the Captain America. Oh, look, you gotta get the paper straight with the camera so you see both those pages together. See, there's one thing. There's like 2 sides. What's on the other side here? Yeah. Renner Comics, mid-channel fort, and he's passing a bag of popcorn over here. Bag of popcorn, or is that a box of? It's a soda or something. Mid-channel fort. But the thing about Captain America is his bulletproof shield. And then in the story, where is it? Right here. Right here. He said, being in a store in Hillsboro, Texas, while it was robbed by Bonnie and Clyde, as the gangsters fled, a piece of paper fell from Bonnie's coat pocket. On it was a poem she had written. Joe picked it up. So the story about Joe has Captain America's bulletproof shield, found the poem that Bonnie had wrote that she dropped. The poem that's famous in the movie. Bonnie and Clyde. And what happened to Bonnie and Clyde? They got full of bullets. Full of bullets. Even though Captain America's bulletproof shield is here. Isn't that ironic? Hillsboro, Texas, while it was robbed by Bonnie and Clyde. So, Bonnie and Clyde's in the Captain America story. And it's not long after. Who we got here? Quanah Parker? Selling corn. And before selling corn, it's Fred Harmon. See, there's Fred Harmon. And there's the BB gun with Red Ryder in the wood. And Red Ryder, the text is the font is a rope. The rope is like a signature Red Ryder. It's follow the ink. It's a rope going through the Red Ryder name. But Fred Harmon shot himself, and it wasn't with a BB gun. So here's the Red Ryder story. Boom, boom. On page 31. Hey, I was born on the 31st. The loom of the desert. And then in the foreword, not the preface, before the preface, the foreword is written by Douglas Preston. It says right here, the final clue, he said, would be where they find his car in the parking lot of the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. Okay. Now, final clue. Okay, what's the last chapter in here? Fuck, this book's missing it. I'm missing the page. But look at there. See the wolf? It's the price of freedom is the last chapter. I got a new copy that I'm not. This is my old copy that I destroyed it by reading it too much and showing it too much. But this is the one about the bronze wolf, the guy in Montana sculpted, or but the final clue is where Forrest Fenn parks his car at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. Well, he parks in the handicap. He's a Purple Heart disabled veteran. And where he parks is a pack of bronze wolves chasing a rabbit. And so the final chapter, The Price of Freedom, is related to the bronze wolves when Legends Run Free is the title of the bronze wolves. When Legends Run Free is the title of the bronze wolves, which ties to The Price of Freedom. They're both about freedom and both about wolves. And the bronze wolves are in front of there. And in Teachers with Ropes, as the children touch the bronze. And he says that the places I'd have signs saying, do not touch, and he had a sign that said, please touch. I am responsible, right? Well, in front of the bronze wolves at the museum, because in the summer they get direct sunlight, there was a sign that said, caution, wolf sculptures may be hot, but they replaced that sign It was a bigger sign than the news. They replaced it with two signs because the wolf sculptures. These are wolves running through the landscape of the museum, outside of the museum. They're bronze wolves and they're leaping and jumping over things and chasing rabbit because one of the wolves has eaten a rabbit. you know. But anyhow, here's the size caution: wolf sculptures may be hot because they're hot. Like at the story that he told in front of the Dude Motel at what the Yellowstone Dude Motel, bring your squirt. I should pass out squirt bottles. And he put the Ellert Koski, who's K-Pro, was running up and down the street, K-Pro stirring up dust. And Ellert Koski is representative K-Ski or K-Pro, okay? But it doesn't take a lot of brains to see the relationship there. And so K-Pro's there in West Yellowstone stirring up dust. And to get his revenge on Koski for stirring up the dust, what's he do? He tells you who the dude is. He puts the hose on Skippy's car, and I have Skippy's car sitting right out here. I call it the bullet. I call it Miss Ford, the bullet. And who was it? It was John Ford, right, that shot? Who John Ford shoot? was it Wild Bill Hickok? Or one of it was someone who was playing cards. John Ford, and even Elton John has a song, "Like a Bullet in the Gun of Robert Ford." That's it. It's Robert Ford who shot Hickok. Like a bullet in the gun of Robert Ford. It's a Elton John song. And Elton John had the Border song. Elton John was outside the window at Michael Douglas's house. The window is a border of the house. It's a border. He was outside the window. He was on the other side of the border. The window's a barrier or a border. It goes from my final clues where his car would be parked at the museum. The final story is about a bronze wolf where he parks his car, bronze wolves. Boom, 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 boom. And I talked to the curator, George Sparks. I talked to George Sparks on the phone and told him all about this. And he was just amazed at the links I've made with it, tying it to those bronze wolves at his museum. And even the person who donated the bronze wolves, I knew her personally. In 1995, she had done the artwork for my CD repair kit box. I thought I had one sitting back here. I don't see it. It's in a cupboard up here. I ain't digging it out. They get too much stuff out already. But I want to I want to go try and buy that other house over here. And it's on the mailbox route. Yeah. Funny money. He reached in and removed the bills. What are those? Funny money? No, it's legal United States tender, not normally used in circulation. Oh, this is Doug Preston talking about Forrest Fenn's, but he had an IOU for $100,000. He showed me an IOU for $100,000 drawn on his bank so that he would know the chest was found when the discoverer collected the IOU. So all I need to know is where his bank is to go get my check. because he already has an IOU written out to the person with that person's name on it. Anybody ever get a check from Forrest Fenn? What bank was it written on? It's probably some obvious major one there. I wonder, yeah. You know, you could just bring the book down there and it says, look, he says this is I'm wondering if you are holding a check in my name that written by him. You know? Oh. Yeah. Now I got to make another trip to Santa Fe on a weekday. But every day is weekend here. and I know Mr. Nothing Burger, if he sees me on here on a Thursday, is going to come stream over me. He'll come into the chat and say hello, and then he'll be over there streaming. Yeah, hey, Ian. I'm not sure. I told him that that Fenn's daughter was Kelly Sparks. And so I don't know if he knows. Maybe he's an in-law, a brother-in-law of her husband, or you know, because he obviously lives in Denver. He's not going to live in Santa Fe and commute there unless Kelly lives in Denver too. I don't know. I don't go investigate that stuff. Kelly can live in Paris if she wants, you know. It's none of our business. Might be Paris, Texas, or is there a Paris, Missouri? Paris, Alabama, maybe. Paris, New York. But I think if I had the prize, you know, I already got stuck here when when that house I was buying fell through because they didn't have a clear title on it that Forrest Fenn's private eye did nothing to help fix, just slow it down and put me in limbo longer, and until it was finally now that property doesn't even exist on the property lines they show on the real estate sites. The property lines for that property are gone. It was just put on a empty space there or something. They don't know who, you know. There's somebody dead and somebody claiming to own it. And nobody in between. 10th clue. Denver Museum, the 10th clue. Yeah. Well, that was the Bronze Wolves. They're in front of the museum. I have a video with all of that. I have a video when I was there to see Davio. I think if you search my videos for Davio, you'll find the video where I was meeting Davio. And I was at the Denver Museum. I was going with Fenn stuff. Fenn didn't mention the Denver Art Museum, and that's where Davio was. I was at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science that Preston mentions. You know? Well, Davio's over at the Denver Art Museum, where there was a Monet exhibition, and I got me a Monet book right here. Oh, Monet book. Can I get it out? I don't know. Don't know if I can get it out of there. I got to get it up behind the chair, and out from behind the guitar, over the headrest. This Monet, Claude Monet, Claude. Oh, who else before us mentioned Van Gogh? He got shot too. Huh. And, and, and Picasso even got some of his art from ancient artwork, which is on the canyon walls. His stories are on the canyon walls, going from Pagosa Springs to where the to South Fork. All up and down them canyon, all them rocks. There's art in all of those rocks in between Pagosa and South Fork, across from Bootjack Ranch and everything. The gypsies are on the wall there. The school teacher waking him up on his desk or in the canyon down. The canyon down is the South Fork Canyon. The Tired and Weak is Tucker Ponds, and that's where the wood is at Tucker Ponds. The meadows are the wood. The car was in the D of the wood. The seat cushion, the sofa cushion springs were by the creek in front of the car. The car was in the middle of the meadow under a canopy of stars. If it was in the forest, it would be in the shade. It wouldn't be under the stars. It wouldn't be a canopy of stars. It'd be a canopy of trees or leaves or whatever, or pine needles and yeah. So that's where the car was. I have a video when I found it and all that. Forrest said the person sent him a picture. So if you hadn't sent Forrest a picture before he said that the person sent him a picture, then but you had to have sent him a picture of it. He didn't say the treasure they sent them a picture of was the treasure chest. They sent him a picture of the treasure, which he knew that was it by the bullet hole in it, the signature, that asterisk where it's peeled out. Yeah, there's my Monet ticket. See? I gotta use my left hand. That right hand is that's when I met Davio. December 17th, 2019. 5 days after I uploaded Jack, the 1 foot searcher video of my bronze sniffing dog, and 11 months before Justin Posey had a bronze sniffing dog. I didn't call him a bronze sniffing dog. I said he sniffed out the treasure. And then Posey comes up with a bronze sniffing dog. Yeah. It just doesn't. Yeah, Forrest Fenn dodged a lot of bullets. Like this song. Where's the elephant parade? Oh, it's on the old Spanish Trail, Tiger.
He spoke about the soldiers and their haunted past. Said I dodged a bullet, but my buddy couldn't see the danger in the dark. Now he's just a memory. Old Bill from Tuscaloosa with his faded army blues. He said I got lucky, man, and lived to tell the news. But Tommy wasn't fast enough, and now he's in the ground while I carry on this weight every time I hear a sound. Men who dodged bullets and men who felt the lead. Some live to fight another day while others lie in bed with stories left untold and dreams that won't come true. Here's to those who walked away and those we never knew. Riding down that dusty road, Jim remembers well the night he lost his brother in a smoky hell. He couldn't dodge the bullet, now I carry on his name, living for the both of us in this unforgiving game. Riding down that dusty road, Jim remembers well the night he lost his brother in a smoky hell. friend couldn't wait. Down the field seemed empty, and the night's a little cold. Thinking about the men who dodged an ocean and never grew old. Men who dodged bullets, and men who felt the lead. Some lived to fight another day, while others lie in bed. With stories left untold, and dreams that won't come true. Here's to those who walked away, and those we never knew.
Men who dodged bullets. Ain't that a cool song? Men who dodged bullets. And I got a song about my old dog, Snippy's Mystery. You know, Snippy was a horse, a mare. Was the first cattle mutilation was a horse. It was like 15 miles north of here, up by the sand dunes, so on a ranch here. And I took the back road into town with my neighbor, and man, we went past all kinds of farms and cows, and there were people. There's one house that they had a big fence, and they had all probably 20, 30 dogs on there. It's like, man, you shouldn't be allowed to have that many dogs. That's crazy, you know, because you know they're fighting with each other and stuff. Trouble typing. My fingers. Why are your fingers bandaged? You didn't burn them on a crack pipe or nothing, did you? I can show you the elephant parade on Google Earth. Let me get Google Earth or Google Earth up. I get Google Earth up, and I'll show you where the elephant parade is, and where the stick man with the sword. I can show you where that is. I need there. I'll just put it on the other screen where I can still see the chat. Close. I have songs too, not Forrest Fenn related, but I watch a lot of police chase videos, so I make some funny songs about police chases and, you know, running from the cops songs. You know, they're getting high, throwing their weed out the window, spilling the bong. There. Now. Oh. Yeah, I want to show that. Oh no! Oh no! There. Share. Boom. Okay. So I just click on one of these. These red ones are in that zone. Or no, these are. Oh, come on. Get in there. Just any of them. Fuck it. Zoom in with the fucking mouse. Like all these names, rock faces. Looks like it may be a building there. I'm trying to see if I can find something that's. But look at that big face right there. There's two big eyeballs, and he's got a big tongue hanging out right here. This is his mouth. There's two eyes. No. But this is the old Spanish Trail here. Okay, this is 160 between Monte Vista and Del Norte. No, I want to zoom in more. It doesn't show me what's in the window there. Because that's another window. I'm only so there are these. let's see. Is there a Google Street View? Usually you click on I got to grab it. It has one here. You'll be able to see it from the highway here. See, there's those stones there. These stones here. These stones here. And there's, markers here. There's all these hills back here that are surrounded with art and stuff on the hills and things back there. And the mammoth parade, the elephant parade is in there. So yeah, to get in there, you go down this. There's a radio tower there, and then there's this old Spanish Trail monument here. And exit. I got to make it look straight down at the ground before I exit. It'll give me some. Yep, it gave me an angle anyhow. So then you go down that old Spanish Trail. Follow this road here all the way up here. It makes a little zigzag. It goes around this hill here. There's a little hill, and it curves around that, and then you go left right there. But note right here, going across here, you see this gulch right here. Go very slow over that. That's really rough. It's like a inverse speed bump in Coos. But I would camp right up here in this spot right here. And all these rocks along this ridge are sculpted, painted. All these rocks all along here, all the way around the corner and up there are all sculpted. All this line of rocks all the way around. And up here is the Zeus-like thing. Yeah, there's a little dam here, but up here is a little Zeus right on this corner here. If you look up from just above the dam, and up here on the corner is Zeus. But the main road, without going that way, past my campsite here. So you take after that, crossing that ditch or Coos thing, is that you keep going straight down there, straight down. And then there's a turn that goes left over the bridge here, but don't go that way. You stay straight on this. It curves around, and all these rocks on the side here are all sculpted. And you take that down here, and the elephant parade is right here. This is the elephant parade. Come on, zoom in. You don't want. And right on top of it, this right here, you see it's kind of a straight line going through here between these rocks. That's a catwalk. That's a catwalk there. And this is a big, like, rocks enclose all this area. It'd be very easy to keep mammoths back there. And that was a catwalk, I think, that they would stand the mammoth up here on the end, and they'd have their mammoth auctions there. It was like the livestock auction, you know. But that's where the mammoth parade is. It's right below Dog Mountain. That's a pyramid. There's Dog Mountain right there. This is ancient. There's some mysterious stuff here. It looks like a pyramid from here. And every 600, like about this far out, every 45 degrees going around is an air shaft going down. And then every 600 feet after that going out from that is an air shaft. If for every 45 degrees, there's tunnels going out from the center of this peak. But the giant footprint I found was where you turn off for the shooting range. There's Del Norte. And right here, you turn off for the shooting range. Oh. This is where you turn off for the shooting range. And when I found the foot, I parked in here, and I found that giant footprint. That footprint is like a 20-inch footprint up here in the rocks, right up above this little thing that tells you you're on BLM and stuff. And isn't that a D? He prayed for D's. That's a D. But there's also a D here in Del Norte. You go up here to Del Norte. And here's another D. Forrest Fenn prayed for D's. I prayed for D's. That's Lookout. Hey, isn't Buffalo Bill on Lookout Mountain? Yes, I got to hike all there sometime. It's a good hike. I don't know, how high is that? 8,407. Oh. 8,407 from how close can you drive? Probably can't even drive up here. It's probably about as close as you get here. And that's 8,121. So it's 280 feet higher than right there. But there's a right here on top of the hill, there's a elk up here. I'm surprised there's not a picture of it here on Google Earth. There's it's just a sign. It's a thin, just a silhouette of an elk. Oh, you can see it. No, you can't. It's up there. It's that board. It looks like a flat sign. That line right there is the elk on top of the mountain. But you can park down here and see it. There's a Dollar General right here. And right over here is the buffalo herd. This is a buffalo farm. These are buffalo. It might be some in the field here because this is his barn. Yeah, you see these black dots? These black dots are buffalo. There's probably some others down the other end. Yeah, see, there's this buffalo. They're out here. But there's two buffalo farms in Del Norte. There's that one there, and there's another buffalo farm over here on the other side of the river here. Right in here. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. There's another buffalo farm right here. Or this is it. Yeah, you can tell by the pasture. Yeah. And there's some old cars right across up here, up the road a little more. Maybe it was there. They have a blues festival here too, back in here, because this driveway, or no, it's back in here. They have this festival back here, because this is all parking and this is where the festival back here. But in the spring, the river can fill all the way up. It floods in here. I got video of a freaking couple of bulls having a fight in the flood of the Rio Grande River. You see there that is the Rio Grande River cutting through there. I already turned the chair off, but that's the Rio Grande River. And people say, "Well, he said it wasn't near the Rio Grande." Well, it wasn't. It was near Pass Creek. It was about 5 miles from the Rio Grande, South Fork. And the South Fork of the Rio Grande isn't the Rio Grande, is it? It's the South Fork. It's a riverlet. And I think I'm going to end. Hey, Whoopi. Yeah. Well, I use that's Google Earth Pro. My mouse doesn't like rolling. I don't know what's with that. It's a dang Microsoft mouse. And Tim's gone. Tiger's cool. But the important information was earlier in the broadcast. So, yeah, I'm about done. I give up and let David. And yeah, do I want to fix something to eat or do I want to go for a ride? It's Thursday. Yeah, I can go for a ride and get a pizza if I want, but I got a couple of brats that have been in the fridge for 3 days. I got to cook them, so I eat those. All right, have a good one. See y'all. Oh, yeah, I'm not sure either how long. 2 hours and 32 minutes says here. Yeah, 2 hours ago. Oh yeah, over 2 hours ago. But we can go. We'll play this song here. Old Man Jeff, he ate that.
Old man Jeff out in Ohio sat on his porch with a sigh. Took a bite out of his meatloaf, didn't realize it was pie.
Yeah.
Barbara's cat went missing. She searched high and low. Jeff just smiled, a mystery grin nobody ever did know. Old man Jeff, oh, he ate that cat. Didn't mean to, but that's a fact. In his belly now it's gone. Life in Ohio carries on.
Ohio.
Barbara cried in the moonlight. Where did a kitty go? Jeff just shrugged and took a bite. A secret he would never show.
He ate the cat, not the tiger.
Neighbors talked and whispered about the cat from Barbara's line.
Yeah, I think I signed it off. I don't always.
Life tends to blur the lines.
Did you like
Oh, he ate that cat. Didn't mean to, but that's
I had nothing.
In his belly now it's gone. Life in Ohio carries on.
Yeah, I'm working on a letter to
Barbara's cat went missing. She searched high and low. Jeff just smiled, a mystery grin nobody ever did know. Old man Jeff, oh, he ate that cat. Didn't mean to, but that's a fact. In his belly now it's gone. Life in Ohio carries on. Life in Ohio carries on. carries on.
Yeah. All right. That should end it. Have a good one. See you later.